You gotta keep on breathing if you wanna make sense of it all. We will not fall. Good. Lovely to see you, and thanks for joining us for Yin. This is going to be kind of celebrating our autumn equinox, which is coming up this weekend. So really an opportunity for you to be a little bit more sensitive to yourself, to your needs, and a little bit more aware of how the body might be feeling in the change of the temperature, and change of schedule. We're also changing schedules, coming out of summer, going back into an autumn schedule. So, autumn equinox, Mabon, this weekend. Let's start seated, and let's bring the hands down onto the belly, so you can place one hand on top of the other, doesn't matter left or right. So just spread out the fingers, let the elbows soften to the sides of you, and just for a moment, just shrug the shoulders all the way up to the ears, and then exhale, soften them down. Keep dropping. Do that twice more. Breathe in, lift the shoulders all the way up. Squeeze the shoulder blades to the earlobes, and then exhale, just soften. And one more time, squeeze them up. It's not very comfortable there, is it? And that's why we always try and relax our shoulders in yoga. So start to become settled, finding your place, finding your easy seat, and allow a connection to your surroundings and also into your breathing pattern. Breathing in and out through the nostrils. Just checking in with yourself, physically, mentally, and of course emotionally. And feel the belly start to push out as you breathe in. So the diaphragm pushes down as the lungs fill. Diaphragm pushes down and the belly starts to expand out. And you can feel that coming into the palms, and then exhaling, and the belly starts to deflate as the diaphragm rises back underneath the rib cage. So deep belly breaths. Feel the expansiveness of the inhale, filling the entire torso, filling the legs, going to the toes, to the fingers. And your exhale is a moment of letting go of tightness and tension. Really feel that tightness, tension, gripping, letting go in the mind and in the body. And as we move towards autumn, we're not quite there yet. The weather has shifted just a little bit, so it's given us some nice, warmer, sunnier days. But the autumn equinox signals the time of the year when the night is equal to day. So the hours of daylight equal the darkness. It's also a time of thanks, gratitude, and acceptance and preparation as the summer ends and we move towards autumn. And the reading by Angie Wieland Crosby. Autumn whispered to the wind, I fall, but I always rise again. And we know that it's cyclical. The seasons will always continue. So as the cycle restarts and the great wheel of life continues to turn, after the peak of summer comes autumn, a time to wind down and take stock of where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. The trees shed their leaves, as do we. This is an opportunity for us to let go of what we no longer need or no longer serves us. Continue to work toward the intentions you set at the beginning of the year with renewed precision and purpose. And now is the time to prioritize and focus by dropping the excess and turning inward. So use this practice today to support you in this autumnal journey. Still finding those deep belly breaths, expansive through the inhale, releasing on the exhale. And reminding yourself that yin is the practice where you really do give into gravity, letting go of the tension, the tightness, the gripping, the clenching. Finding stillness in the postures and in the mind. Nice and slowly, take the hands away from the body and place them on the knees. And you might still feel the warmth of the palms of your hand left on your abdomen. Take a moment just to feel that warmth, feel the pressure that has been gently taken away. Still feel the belly breaths expanding even though the hands aren't there. Wiggling fingers, moving into the wrists, and then gently circling the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. So let us come into our first posture. This is our wide leg child's pose. So if you need to use props, please do. If you don't wish to use any props, of course, you can just come down into your wide leg child's pose. If you're on a hard surface, it might be nice to just pad out the knees, but take the knees wide as is comfortable. Bring the big toes to touch. And if you struggle with the ankles touching the mat, then you can always place something underneath the ankles there. And the hands can reach forward in an extension, or they might be underneath the head. So as you bring the head down, either onto the back of the hands, or to the mat, or to maybe a block, take a moment to make sure that your breath is easy. And here we switch the focus of the breathing into the back body. So we almost breathe through the back of the spine, back of the skull, back of the neck. Breathe into the shoulder blades. Breathe into the middle back, the lower back, the sacrum, the pelvis, and the hips. Being aware if the mind wanders. If other thoughts come in, just take a breath, be aware of those thoughts, let them go, and return back to your focus of your breathing through the back body. Observe and take note of sensations and feelings as you are here. There is no judgment or criticism. They are simply observations. Notice if you hold the posture a little bit longer, you become a little bit deeper. We're here for just another few more breaths. Slow down and deepen those breaths. Reminding yourself of the belly. Fully expanding belly, lower back and sides of the waist. Take a deep breath in and out. And on your next inhale, just bring yourself up into a tabletop, bringing the hands back underneath the shoulders. Take time to come out of the postures. We held that for about 5 minutes. So just come into a soft tabletop and gently just release through the spine into your cow. Arch the spine, let the belly drop, pushing through the palms, looking forward to the front of your mat. And then nice deep exhale, just rounding through the spine into that cat. And then just release again, inhale, let the belly drop, the spine starts to arch, chest opens. And the exhale rounds into the cat. Those are super, super slow. From here, we start moving the hips and just start to circle out one way and the other. We're going to come down onto our bellies into a prone posture. So bringing yourself all the way down. Head comes to the back of the hands. Bring the big toes to touch and let the heels just fall out to the sides. And just gently rock the pelvis gently from side to side. That in turn gives the legs a little release and a shake all the way down to the ankles and also up into the hips and the lower back. Let's go into our lying quad stretch. So you can widen the feet if you like, pressing all 10 toes down into the mat for a moment. Reaching the right arm back. If you have a strap and you need to place the strap over the foot, go ahead, do that. We're going to lengthen the hip flexor, gently pulling that down, lengthening the thigh towards the back of the mat. And then resting either the cheek or the forehead on the hands. Continuing to breathe deep into the torso. Noticing where the tightness is for you and taking your attention, your focus to those areas to let go. For your last minute, you can stay here or you might just come up into that half sphinx. So you're lifting up onto the forearm. Dropping both hips equally, lifting the chest, looking forward, pulling that heel into the buttock, lengthening hip flexor and thigh along the mat. Doing great, almost there. And slowly release the hand on the leg, lower yourself down, and then let that right leg float down nice and slowly, nice and carefully, taking in that kind of response, that rebound feeling as you come out. You may have felt that into the hamstrings or the hip flexors or the quads. So again, just bring the big toes to touch, sway the hips out, give yourself a little wiggle through the spine. Let's sweep the left arm around to take hold of left foot. Let's go other side. Lengthen the hip flexor away, lengthen the thigh downwards, and then again, resting either the cheek or the forehead on the mat or on the back of the hand. As we switch to the opposite side, just notice any differences, imbalances. Again, no judgment needed, just observations, feeling into the sensations. Maybe you feel one side might be tighter or looser than the other. Following your breath control with those deep belly breaths. Trying not to let the hip flexor pull or arch away from the mat, but simply lengthening and pulling down a little bit further. And for the last minute, you can again come up into that half sphinx or stay where you are. Coming up onto the forearm, opening the chest, getting the shoulders nice and parallel to the mat. Both hip bones are level and pulling down. And slowly start to lower the body down if you chose that option. Release the hand on the leg. Let the leg float down. Let it rest on the mat and allow that response. Feel what it's like to come out. Big toes touch, heels fall out, sway the hips. And then nice and slowly press yourself back to tabletop. And just find a little bit of a cat and cow there with the breath, noticing if the spine might feel a little bit more mobile after our second posture. Good. So for the next one, you can use bolsters and blocks if you like. If you've got them handy, 1 or 2 blocks in front of you are coming into dragon, and your bolster you can always use across the mat underneath the back thigh. That's always really nice. Right leg comes forward first of all. And choosing your option here of your dragon, whether that be the foot facing forward or it's out to the side and the toes are pointing out. Winged dragon. So letting the hips drop deep, deep down towards the mat. Sitting up just nice and upright for a moment so that you start to pull the navel in. Again, those blocks just fill space between you and the mat if the hands don't quite meet. Try to take as much tension out of the fingers and the wrists if you can. So think about lifting the torso rather than dumping into the hands. And your option now is to deepen the posture and come down onto the forearms if you can keep the shoulders nice and level. So the right shoulder needs to come down just as much as the left does. That's the tricky part when we come down onto our forearms. This is a great posture to really feel that letting go sensation. Releasing tension in the glutes. Softening into the heaviness of the hips and the pelvis. Allowing the body to go as far as is comfortable. You know your body best. You take the steps to go deeper. Maybe it's taking away the blocks and bringing the forearms down onto the mat. Taking the tension away. Give in to the earth. Take note if you've dropped the left hip more than the right. Lift the left up just a little bit. Push the right down. It's very easy to sink into the left hip flexor and the left quad a little bit more because it's closer to the ground. We're here for just one more minute. If you took your forearms down, slowly bring the hands back up onto the mat or onto the blocks. Lift up through the heart space for a moment, dropping the pelvis a little bit deeper. Nice, opening up into the chest. You're in a little back bend probably there as well. That's probably your deepest feeling. Nice and slowly bring the hips back. Take the blocks back with you so that you can just gently release into that right hamstring, exhaling gently over. This is not a hold. This is just simply a rebound. Into your half monkey just for that release. Good. Nice and slowly sweep that right leg back around. Circle out where you need to. And coming into your left leg. Again, choosing the same options that you did on the other side. So if you had that bolster to start off with, and then you might have taken that away. Choosing the foot forward or winging the toes out to the side. Good. Keeping upright for a moment, take the weight out of the fingertips and to the wrists. Lift up through the torso, drop through the pelvis. Nice. Pulling gently navel to spine. And then choosing the options as you start to go deeper. Take your time. Remember, trying to keep the shoulders and the hips parallel to the mat. So the right hip doesn't drop too much more than the left. Nice, looking good in these dragons. And as we switch to the opposite side, just take note. How does it feel as you move to the other leg? Soften into the gluteal muscles, relax the buttocks, relax the pelvic floor. There's no gripping, pulling, clenching. Slow and steady breaths. Keep your focus present to that introspective, inward awareness of your own physical body and mental presence and focus. Be guided by how your body feels as to whether you need to go deeper, removing props as and when. Really grounding through to the earth. Taking time to come out of the posture. If you took yourself down onto the forearms, gently bring yourself back up onto the fingertips or the wrists, opening up the chest, pulling navel to spine, sinking a little bit deeper there. That's your deepest stretch. Well done. Sit with it. Just breathe. Nice and slowly pull it back. Take your time to bend into that right hip flexor. It's been stretched quite far, and then lengthen out that front left leg into that half monkey as you gently fold over into the hamstring stretch. That's just a rebound. We get into the hamstrings on our next one, so gently bending, sweeping that leg back. And let's come off the knees, go down onto our backs. If you need a strap for the next one, have that handy by the side of you. But we're going to come into our reclined leg stretch. So drawing the knees in towards the chest. And just gently roll out through the spine, circling the knees one way and the other. And then just get into the hip joints there as well. Feel how they respond now after that deep dragon. Yeah, trust me, I'm feeling it. Went out to a day rave on Saturday. I think I'm a bit past it. Let the legs go straight up to the sky with a soft bend into the back of the knee, and just flex and point through the ankles. Circle into the ankles there as well. Be under no illusion that the feet got worked in that dragon as well. Give the legs a little shake out. Shake the feet, shake the calves, shake the thighs. Let's place left foot down and right knee stays in towards the chest. Lengthen the tailbone along the mat. Make sure the shoulders are spread and the back of the head is nicely planted and the neck is long. So trying to keep the thigh as close as you can in towards the body, starting to extend from the back of the knee, come into that reclined leg stretch. Exhaling into the back of that right leg, soften through the facial expression. And here, if you want to intensify the challenge for yourself, lengthening left leg all the way along the mat, but pulling down the back of that left leg. So the knee's not slightly bent here. You're either here or pulling down. Deep exhale into that release of the back of your right leg. This is a great one if you suffer with any lower back tension as well, because the lower back starts to release from the gluteals release from the hamstring stretch. And we want to soften through the back of the leg rather than overstretch. Just a few more breaths here. Exhale deepens your release. And then slowly bend at the knee. Just release the heel back in towards the buttock. Give it a little squeeze in there. So you're going to feel that more than likely right at the top of the hamstrings as you squeeze the knee towards the armpit. And then lengthen both legs nice and slowly. All the way along the mat. Again, allow this period of recovery and response just to feel what it's like when you come out. Drawing both knees in. Roll and massage out. Circle the knees one way, circle them the other. Open out the knees, work into the hip joint just a little bit, one way and the other. Place the right foot down on the mat, left knee stays in. Hug it in. On the next exhale, extending from the back of the knee, try to keep the thigh as close as you can. If you start to extend and you feel some tremors, just keep that bend into the knee there. It's better to stay nice and close to the chest rather than take it here and have a straight leg. So work with any tremors and don't go too far on your second side. And again, intensifying the posture for yourself when you're ready, extending that right leg all the way along the mat, pulling the back of the leg down. Noticing the stability across the pelvis. The left hip isn't hitched up to the waist. So the left and the right hips are nice and squared off to the mat. Thigh stays over the chest, over the belly, doesn't go wide to the ribs. And also just visualizing those toes going way back over the head kind of helps just a little bit. Facial expression and the throat are all nice and soft and relaxed. Softening through the back of the leg, releasing any tension and tightness there. And last few breaths here. Doing great. Continuing to breathe with it. Slowly bending deeper into the knee and just dropping that heel in towards the buttock. Squeeze the knee in towards the chest and the armpit. You might feel that just a little bit deeper right at the top of the hamstrings into the glutes. And then carefully and slowly slide that leg along the mat. Lengthen out both legs, relax the glutes, relax the buttocks. And just now notice if the right and the left leg feel equal and feel a little bit longer. Shake the hips. In turn, shakes the hip flexors and the thighs. You're giving your buttocks a good old massage underneath you, and that in turn massages into the calves, and the feet shake as well. Draw the knees in, roll and massage out through the spine, open into the hips. Now take the legs straight up to the sky. See if you can actually not have to bend the knees. The heels are above the hips, and you're going to drop the weight of those legs into the hip joints, and then reach the arms up into your dead bug. Shoulders stay down, but fingertips reach up. Start to circle through the wrists and the ankles. Give them a little shake, 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 shake. And then let's roll over to one side. Take time to come back up to seated. Ooh, how are we feeling? Stretched. Let's go into our wide leg seated fold or straddle. So this is again where you can use a bolster to support the head, or you could make a little Jenga pile with your blocks. So depending on how high you need those blocks, whether your head goes on the top there, or you don't need them at all, and you can just go into your straddle, into that fold without any props at all. Oh, it's beginning to get dark. Better have some light in here. Forgot. So now coming into your straddle pose here, wherever it feels the most comfortable. Don't overforce too soon. We are here for a number of minutes. Letting the head and the neck soften and relax down. Let the facial expression relax too. And try not to let the toes roll inwards, rather the toes and the tops of the feet point up towards the sky. You're pulling your sit bones backwards towards the mat. And breathing deep into inner groin, inner thighs. Pulling navel gently to the spine. You're going to be starting to find that back breath once more that you did in your child's pose into this fold, letting the head drop a little bit more. Breathe through the back body, the back of the legs, the spine. Softening into the shoulders, letting the shoulders relax. Yeah, it was like that when we shrugged them up towards the ears. Soften the shoulder blades down the back. Finding gratitude for your body through all of these postures. Just a few more breaths here. Doing great in our peak pose. Taking your time, you start to roll up through the lower back, through the middle back, then the shoulders and the upper back, and then the head and the neck. Sit nice and tall for a moment. Well done. Take the hands to the knees. Gently bring those in towards one another and take the hands to the outer knees and just give yourself a big, big squeeze there. Well done. And then take the feet just a little bit wider and just drop the knees over to the right and to the left. And we're going to come down onto our backs once again. So we have one last posture, which is a twist. So rolling down and making yourself warm for this one as we're going to stay down there for our final relaxation as well. So gently drawing those knees back in towards the chest. Let the belly be nice and free here so that you can pull the knees nice and wide of the rib cage. So the belly's nice and prominent to the sky. And again, just find that breath as the belly rises and inflates, and then exhaling. So you're going to pull those knees nice and wide of the rib cage. Good. And then place the soles of the feet down. Just a little pelvic tilt here. So circle up the spine, lengthen the quads just a little bit. You feel the hip flexors start to contract there, and then roll it back down. pull the tailbone underneath you, arching through the spine, and then just do that a few more times. Pelvic tilt up into a low bridge and release. So it's a reclined cat and cow. Good. So let's go into our twist from here. Shift the hips over to your right side, and then bring the knees over to your left. So you have the option here of using, I'll tell you what, I've actually got thin blocks here. If you've got the thin blocks, these are great for this. So you can place those between the knees so that you try and get the knees on top of one another, or you can use one of the blocks or a blanket. Start to open up the chest, trying to bring the right shoulder back down to the mat. And the arms might be by the side of the hips or out at shoulder height or deeper into cactus. So if you're looking at cactus, you've got to bend into the elbow, but bringing that right shoulder down. So this is releasing into the IT band on that top right thigh, the glutes, the right outer hip, the right waist, the right lower back, and into the right rib cage. That's if the knees have gone to the left, of course. Obviously, if you've taken the knees to the right, first of all, then you're working on the other side. But it's okay, you can stay where you are. Softening into that twist as much as you can. There is no tension into the glutes, into the pelvic floor, relaxed. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Prepare yourself to move. Bring the arms back to the body. Take the block away. Knees come back in. Realign hips and pelvis into the center. Take the feet wide, constructive rest. Let the knees just drop towards the center. Heel toe into parallel. Lift the hips up. Shift them over to the left of your mat. And then the knees go over to the right. Again, using blocks, pillows, blankets in between those knees. It just helps to keep them stacked on top of one another. Then you're going to open up your chest and your arms, bringing that opposite shoulder down. Maybe cactus, maybe T-shape arms, or down by the hips. And as you switch to the other side, just being aware of any differences, any imbalances. We don't have to fight with them, we simply observe them. Trying to maintain that letting go feeling of the underneath hip just as much as the top hip. And the glutes are soft. There's no engagement. This is our last posture before relaxation, so relish in how your body is going to feel after your practice today. We've tried to work into the spine, into the hip flexors, the quads, the glutes, the hamstrings, into the lower back, into the sides of the waist. Not too much upper body work, only if you added in your extended child's pose with the arms out in front of you, or even your half sphinx. Taking a deep breath in, a deep breath out to prepare to move. Bring the hands back, take the block or the blanket away, and then gently roll back into center, realigning hips and pelvis and the spine, dropping the feet wide, toes turn in, and the knees drop together. Spread the shoulders, let the neck be long, facial expression relax. Take the hands to the belly. Let's take one deep breath in to the belly. Fill, 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 and exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale, let go. Sigh it out. Last one. This one we will chant Om on that exhale. So breathing in. Om. Release the hands, heel toe into parallel. Draw the knees nice and wide and circle out. Move the spine, move the hips as you need to. Do what feels good and prepare for your final relaxation coming into Shavasana using blankets, bolsters. Keep warm. The body temperature will drop significantly. Take the feet nice and wide of your mat. Let the ankles relax and the toes fall out. Take the arms out to the side of you, not touching anything. You have a completely clear space around you, and lift up the upper back and spread out the shoulders. Move the head left and right, and then lift the head away from the mat, chin to chest, looking along the body, and then roll it down. Now take those moments of final movement, final adjustments to become still, to remove all distraction, to avoid fidgeting, to avoid the mind flitting somewhere else. Be completely present with yourself as you lie here, letting go of anything you don't need and that does not serve you anymore. Remember, autumn is the time that nature lets go. And as do we. I will leave you for a few moments of silence. I'll let you know when it's time to come back around. Beginning to take a few deeper breaths now as you bring your awareness back into your surroundings, back onto the mat and into the body, wiggling fingers, wiggling toes, moving wrists, moving ankles, and choosing to stretch or drawing the knees in and just rolling and massaging out for the last time today. And just taking your time to return up to a comfortable seat, whatever that is for you, bringing the hands into Anjali Mudra at heart center, sitting nice and tall, taking in how you feel, taking in the practice, preparing us for the Autumn Equinox and Mabon. And reminding ourselves of our theme, our intention of introspection, inquisitiveness, acceptance, gratitude. And always thanking ourselves each and every time that we come to the mat. Our bodies, our mind, and our breath. And I thank you. Namaste.